and welcome back to the channel. So recently I've been trying really hard to clear out my fabric stash just because I have so much fabric. It's been years in accumulating all the fabric I have right now. So recently I decided to go on a mission to clear it all out. Well, maybe not all out, but at least most of it so that I can make more space for new fabrics. And yeah, recently I made this little pillow right here. It's like a patchwork like airplane pillow, which I'm going to use on my trip to Japan in a few months. And then I also made this little tote bag, which I've been actually using quite a lot recently. And then I also made this big tote bag, which is really good for like just shopping. You know, this is kind of a reusable bag. Yeah, so far these are the 3 things I've made from my scrap fabrics. But I'm like, you know what? I want to make more. I want to make more things, more useful things. I want to also make kind of like clothes, maybe some patchwork skirts or tops. And so I thought, well, I might as well just make a whole video on it. So far these are the 3 things, but I'm gonna make so many more scrap fabric projects. So stick around to see all that. If you have any scrap fabrics, I think this is a perfect video to get some ideas and inspiration for what you could do with it. So yeah, let's get started. So I want to start out by making my skirt. So I have all my scraps here. And what I'm gonna do is cut out a bunch of squares. This one is a 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter squares. I found that I like this size the best. So I'm just gonna try to get a bunch of squares out of these. I want kind of like a pinky purple skirt vibe-ish. So I'm not sure if I'll use the green. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. And I obviously needed to take my regular handstand break, so I made sure not to forget that. So I cut out all these pieces and I laid them out how I want to sew them together. I made it 20 squares wide and 5 squares long. So now I'm going to sew each of them into like strips, and then I'm going to sew each like column together. I cut out little pieces of paper with numbers 1 through 20 on it and pinned it to the top of each column so that I don't forget the order in which they go. Squares were sewn together, I needed to make a lining because I wouldn't want all those seams on the inside of my skirt, right? So I basically cut out a strip of fabric. This is also technically scrap fabric because it's an old bedsheet, but I just cut it out the same length as the skirt, but a little bit shorter. Just like a little bit shorter. I didn't really measure how much shorter it was, but just a little bit shorter, you know? And I sewed both the lining and the main skirt into a loop and then sewed together the bottom hem of it. So I put them right sides together and sewed up the bottom hem basically. Then I connected the lining to the top of the skirt so I could sew it all around. And since the lining is a little bit shorter, you can see how the main fabric, it folds over to the inside a little bit, just so that when you're wearing it, you can't see it from the outside. And now I'm going to make the waistband, which you can do it two ways. You can either just fold the top like here and sew it down to make a channel for the elastic. And I was going to do that, but then I realized that that would make the skirt a little bit shorter than I want it to be. So instead, I cut out just a strip of fabric that I sewed into a loop, and I'm going to sew that on top of the skirt like that, and then sew that together to make that into a channel, so that will be my waistband. The final step for the skirt was to stretch and sew the elastic and then steam it so that it becomes nice and stretchy, and also that all the elastic stays in place. And I will show you the final grand reveal of the skirt at the end once I've also made my top to go with it. But next, I want to show you a different scrap project thing you could make. So another thing I love to make out of my scrap fabric are hair accessories. So you can make scrunchies. I have this whole bowl, which I actually made this bowl myself. I recently finished it. Do you like it? It's like a green turning made out of wet wood basically. And yeah, I'm actually really proud of this. It makes a perfect hair accessory holder. So as I was saying, you can make like bows like this. I have a few. You can make all different kinds of bows. They're so cute to put in your hair. And as I was saying, you can make all kinds of scrunchies. But my recent favorite hair accessory has been these ribbons, hair ribbons. They're so fun to braid into my hair. And you can make all different colors and patterns and designs with however length you want them. And so I wanted to show you my favorite way to use these hair ribbons recently. So I'm just gonna take the pink one because I like it. And yeah, so I'm going to just part my hair. I like to use a bobby pin to pin the center of the ribbon down just so it doesn't shift around. So I'm gonna do a Dutch braid where I take 2 strands of my own hair, and then the third strand is going to be the ribbon. So I'm gonna just Dutch braid it down my hair. And once I've braided all the way down, I have my ends right here. Instead of taking a hair tie, what I like to do is use the ribbon to wrap around it and then just put it through that little loop, and then that ties that off. Just like that. And in here you should still have quite a bit left. And then now I am going to repeat the same exact thing on the other side. So I have finished braiding both sides and I have my ribbon ends right here. And now all I'm going to do is cross them over in the back, bring them forward, and then just tie the top together. And now you can just tuck in all the ends. And ta-da! I think it's a super cute look where you can use a ribbon and it's braided, Plus, all the hair is out of your way. It's just all up there without any like bumps that a hair tie would bring, because this is a no hair tie look. Yeah. So next, I knew I wanted to make a top, but I just couldn't really think of what kind of top I wanted to make. So I did a handstand to hopefully try to get those ideas inside my body down to my head using gravity. And after some time, an idea came to me and I knew exactly what kind of top I wanted to make. I wanted to make a tiered one with ruffles, which would be very good for using up my scrap fabrics. And yeah, so I started on that. I began this top by starting with a base layer that was about 2 times the circumference of my torso. And then I decided that I wanted this to have 3 tiers, so I chose some different fabrics. One of the tiers I ended up alternating between 2 kinds of fabrics and sewing them together because I didn't have enough of one of them. But I think I cut each tier about 10 centimeters long and then a little bit longer than the base layer. I didn't really exactly measure it, but yeah, I basically cut that all out, which they were pretty long pieces, so you're gonna need a lot of fabric for this, but it's perfect because it's really easy to piece together. So this is the idea of what the top is gonna look like. It's obviously all gonna be kind of ruffled up, but right now I'm just gonna sew all these together in alternating colors. And here, as you can see, I sewed all of the things into a loop. So not just the alternating colors one, but the base and the 3 tiers. And then from here, I just sewed it on. I sewed it down a few centimeters from the top of the base layer so that I could hem the top of the base layer so I can put the elastic through. But I marked it out with chalk so that it's all gonna be sewn on a straight line. And then I pinned down each layer. I made it the bottom of the ruffles face up when sewing it down so that when it's done being sewn, I can flip it over and it's gonna just make it look nicer and give it a little bit more volume. I would like to note that I did hem the bottom of all 3 ruffle layers, and I put basting stitches along the tops of them so that I can pull them to gather them to the sides of the base. Oh yeah, and I also hemmed the bottom of the base too. Sewed on all the ruffles. Yay, I think it's looking really cute. And now I'm gonna take this top part I left and fold it over like that to like make a channel on the inside to put the elastic through. And I'm gonna like make it so that you can't see any of the pink part from the outside. So I'm gonna have to sew it on like under here because I don't want to sew on top of the ruffle. Then once I did that, I left a little bit of space open so I could insert my elastic, and the last thing I had to do was put the elastic through, all the way through, and then sew the ends together. Oh wait, no, I have to make the straps next. Yes, so once I do this, I'm going to make the strap. So this is how it's looking like right now. I think it's looking so cute. It's almost done. Now next, all I need to do is add straps. So I'm gonna take these things and, sew it in half. Turn it right side out, and then I want to make it tie straps, so probably make it a little bit shorter than this. I'm gonna make 4 of them and just put 1 here, here, and then 2 in the back. Yeah, so it should be like, something like, I don't know.